Hi, everybody. I'm here with the amazing Jill Miller.
And Haley.
And
my
Haley.
dog.
Hi, Haley.
Oh, look at her. She's like,
Yes, thank you.
oh, she smells something.
Jill,
So,
so great to see you.
always great to see you.
I'm so glad to, every time I come to LA, actually find somehow a way to find you.
It's like, I don't know how all of your friends live in the Valley.
I know, it's weird.
It's weird.
It's weird. Well, my important people live in the Valley.
Everybody used to live on the West Side, and now they're all in the Valley.
Yeah, Santa Monica was where it was at, and now everybody's down here.
Yeah, well, you get a yard here.
You do, and a beautiful yard at that, and an incredible studio. For those of you who do not know Jill, clearly you're putting your head under a rock. I don't know how that's possible in our industry, but
Or a ball.
But let's break some stuff down. You know, you've authored a couple of really incredible books. You've contributed to
Now in
other
Chinese.
incredible books. I love that. Is that not the coolest thing? Your first book, The Role Model,
Yes.
pioneering to me in our field of shifting fitness to wellness and educating people on self-care, to which I hear from an article. I don't know if you read it, but it says that alternative therapies don't work. How do you like that first statement? Alternative therapies don't work. Disclaimer.
Alternative to complementary? Like, what's the...
Disclaimer. The article was written by a company that's funded by Big Pharma.
Oh, right.
Do you know
I think I saw your post about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's ugly.
yeah, what do you feel about that?
How do I feel about it? I think that healing is complex. I think that what we do is a really big kick, and I mean a generous, gentle kick to multiple systems of the body. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been the biggest challenge, is how can you distinguish and differentiate what it is that we do as being the treatment that's the treatment. Right? Because usually what we're doing, the work that we offer and provide to our clients and students, is happening in tandem with other things that people may be doing at the same time.
Right. And that's it. I think that, healing isn't a one-way street. There's not a single road. It is a very sometimes long and winding road, in fact, in healing. And I always feel like there's multiple things that one needs to do, because if you really just get down to the root of it, motion needs emotion, and emotion can either cause an effect or stop or create motion. So the emotional field of how you deal with pain, trauma, healing, I think is a huge piece of the pie that most people aren't really talking about. And I think the attunement that we're trying to bring to people using tools is to, with a softer touch, with a more mindful way, to get people to attune themselves to themselves, so that they stop seeking outside of themselves a solution for what's really going on inside.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the newest book is called Body by Breath, The Science and Practice of Physical and Emotional Resilience, and all the practices are novel ways, just quite simply, they're novel ways to uptick your relaxation response, to uptick your ability to downregulate, and which is where recovery and healing happens. And so we may not know where in our body we're still spinning 19 plates at a time. Mm-hmm. And so this is a way to methodically tamp those down so that your body can experience deep rest. But part of that is a novel way of helping people to literally calm down, because so many of us are relaxation averse, we're meditation averse, we're breath averse.
Sure.
So how do you help people who are avoidant of these different known things that actually can really help change your brain in so many different ways, your brain and body? But this is a way of dancing with those stresses and sort of, and making your way all the way down into the depths of a very helpful relaxation response, which ultimately helps with your sympathetic response too. So it builds that resilience score from 0 to 60 and 60 to 0.
Yeah, and that's a really big thing that Jill's talking about. With Body by Breath, I think it's such a massive book. Can we see this gigantic work of art here. I mean, this is serious stuff, what Jill has brought out to the community, to the world. And I think something she's saying here, you know, people are stressed out, right? And we have this fine balance between stress and, you know, repair. And sometimes we're so stressed out, we are the cause of our body's inability to slow down and rest. And I always feel like, even when I'm teaching Melt, a lot of times I'm like, I get very Southern. I'm like, y'all got to just calm down. We got to slow down. We got to not be in a hurry. Just focus on inhaling. Just breathe in slowly, breathe out slowly. Don't be in a rush. Because I think in this modern day, we're the cause of the effect of over, I guess, sensitization. We're so sensitized, but I think we're also kind of creating a culture now of people who get very offended, and there's, you know, they have to take their day break because they've had trauma, they're very trauma stricken, and I think we've got to be careful how we're dealing with stress and trauma these days, and everybody's looking for the next blue zone. I'm using red light therapy. I've got my balls and my cryo ice and my tuning forks and all these things. But you know, if you're not getting to the root of breath and you're not putting that in the forefront of the practice, I think you're missing the very thing. The one autonomic aspect of our body that we can quickly take over is breathing. That's not for nothing, well, right? That's real.
It synchronizes so many different. It's a background brainwave. Like you have a respiratory pattern that is a brainwave that travels through your brain, and if you are breathing in a way that is chaotic, that is more a superficial type of breath, a shallower breath, you're not really helping a cogent, your brainwaves to synchronize in a way that are going to give you deep focus or attention, or be able to focus through and see to the end of a task with clarity and calm and all that sort of thing, or even heightened focus. It will be very fractured. And so this is some of the research by Dr. Jack Feldman, who is arguably the most learned neuroscientist whose exclusive focus is on respiration. And he really talks about the respiratory patterns as helping to be cohesive for the network. And but slow breathing is extremely therapeutic to the body in general, and deep breathing, which would involve more than just the muscles of your throat being the breathing, right? So we're talking below the belt of the collarbones. And ideally, you're having excursion both in the gut area and the rib cage in multiple dimensions. Slow breathing, deep breathing is literally curative, and for so many different things. So it's this underlying ticker tape that we can make this adjustment to. But the problem for many people is that when they're told to breathe, it stresses them out. And so,
right, am I breathing like this, like that? Like, am I doing it okay? I mean, that is. It's like, wait, no, hang on.
Or just the thought of having to focus on your breath provokes anxiety. Yeah. Which is why in my book I go over. It's hard to I go over other things like, oh well, we can use tools not to focus on your breath. Let's take the breath out of the equation, but we can use these tools that actually flip the stress switch. And all of a sudden, you see people yawn. You see people have these intense, long exhales, involuntarily long exhales, and then I know, okay, we're flipping those autonomic switches, and they're able to downregulate, and then you ultimately you're able to be able to pay attention to your breathing and adjust the breathing. And I say this because I have my own stress story. We don't need to go into all of my drama, but my mother's asthmatic. I grew up in a household where nobody was breathing at all. And, she was hospitalized multiple times for it. And, we pick up these stress patterns.
Unconsciously. Yeah, we don't even know what's happening. Yeah.
We are living in it socially
right now. Yeah.
So it's enculturated, this sort of panting, being on the run, overproduce. But we need things that can help to flip our stress switches for us. And so that's why we use movement and rolling. Both you and I are huge proponents of self-myofascial release. I use tools that are novel so that your brain gets, it's like, it's fun, I'm playing on things, and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. So if you could tell somebody listening something that you know that they probably don't know, but if they did, it might very well change how they live in the world. Do you have like something that you feel is like one thing you could, something you really know that you're like, I don't think people know this?
Well, I don't think everybody knows that if you create a gentle slope in your body, like if you lay on your back and then just lift your pelvis up 1, 2, 3 inches, put it on a couple of books, or like put it on the Coregeous ball, that's one of my tools, or put it on Sue's
like the half roller, the melt roller, yeah.
If your pelvis is higher than your heart, higher than your head, you're on something comfortable, either the floor on a yoga mat or you're in your own bed, you create this incline in your body that creates this involuntary relaxation response. This is called the baroreceptor reflex. And as long as you don't have glaucoma, you're safe to do it. And that is something that is a freebie, because what it does is it stimulates this very powerful nerve called the vagus nerve, and that will automatically slow down your breath rate and your heart rate for free. So you don't even have to worry about breathing. Like if the shit is hitting the fan, you're like, man, I can't get a hold of myself. I can't get a hold of it. Just going in that little tiny bit, lay on the ground, bend your knees, stick your tushy up on a little bit of lift, pillow, and then rest there for a few minutes. There will be a sea change inside your body, inside your brain, that can really help to change your moment, to give you a reset.
That's beautiful. And I 100% agree on these ideas. This is like great. So speaking of the vagus nerve.
And that's actually the cover of your first Melt book. You actually have that gentle slope position, don't you? Yeah, interesting.
Not to change the subject, but Gil Hadley.
Yes?
We went to see the Nerve Tour. I saw him when he came down to Florida.
I saw him do it in Bakersfield with 8 people in the room. It was the very beginning of the tour.
Even understand that there's not 800 people.
8,000 people.
8,000 people.
Well, there are. I mean, it's building.
It's unbelievable, his dedication.
You have to understand Bakersfield. Like, I was like, Gil, why are you coming to Bakersfield?
Yeah.
LA is an hour and a half this way. Why are you not? Like, everybody knows, like, I'm not going to drive to Bakersfield. Like, so they didn't drive to Bakersfield.
I don't know.
We did.
But that kind of monumental work, I mean, it really... Monumental.
It is a monument to humanity, what he did, and the nervous system.
Yeah, and the whole story with the captain, who was a friend of his, and that is the subject of the dissection. And
5 months to, well, your people already know, because they've...
I don't know. No, I don't know if they know. 5 months.
5 months to excavate the nervous system, the central and peripheral of an entire human being, a loving...
Who knew Gil?
Yeah, a friend. Yeah.
And the energy of that. I mean, this is why I think, you think that anatomy might be like bones and muscles, and then you realize there's so much that's going on inside our body, and we might feel like we know a lot, but there's a whole bunch that we just have no idea about, and there's so much more to learn. And I think that with all of the new science and technology that's out there and the way that AI is headed, I think that there are going to be new technologies that are going to help people with brain issues like Parkinson's and dementia and things of that nature. I think it's a paradigm what's happening right now, and it's very exciting to be still young enough to have time to see this transformation over what's going to happen in the next decade. I listened to Peter Lee, who is the president now of Microsoft, and he said, we're overestimating what AI is going to do in the next 2 to 3 years, but we're significantly underestimating what it can do for us in a decade. And this is for healthcare and helping doctors to diagnose with more acuity and to stop so many of the mishaps in the hospitalizations and things like that. So it's really exciting to think that we are slowly making some headway with humanity in the idea of longevity. And hopefully we are actually in the generation where we're going to live until we're, centennials, 100, 110. I mean, and hopefully with just as much resilience and dynamics as we have now. They might need to shoot me up with stem cells.
Amen. That'd be awesome.
Give me all those stem cells. So with what you're doing now with Body by Breath, you went out on a book tour.
Yes, it just turned 1 last week. Yeah, the book just turned 1, but I'm still on tour. The year happened, and
It goes by fast.
it went by really fast. But I still have so many horizons and places. I haven't gone to Europe yet. I'm going to Iceland. But we were supposed to go to Europe after Iceland, but then my kids are in a wedding, so we're actually turning around. We're not even getting to the mainland, Iceland, and then go straight back to the U.S. So I'm still saving, Europe and Asia for another year.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, I'm hoping to get back out to Europe this year and into next year, and so it's kind of exciting. Maybe Australia. I mean, it's been so long now with all the traveling. I said I used to be so great at traveling, and now not so much.
Well, I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, so it's much more challenging. It was easier when I was nursing, honestly, to travel. Especially because it's a free seat with a baby.
Yeah. Well,
although they're on you the whole time.
Not anymore. So with Body by Breath, I mean, what do you think is next? You going to write another book? You've got more to do. What are you doing?
I do have another book in my head that.
Oh yeah, this was great.
This I just completed the second edition. So we're.
This is with David Lazondek, Fascia, Functional, and Medical Applications. This is our friend David, who is by far one of the most brilliant guys I've met, and his ability to bring pieces together, like a puzzle master,
Yeah, and
he's incredible.
He's such a great science communicator about fascia.
Yeah.
He's just really juicy. He's really hooky, and his book, Fascia, What It Is and Why It Matters, is a really great,
by far and away.
Overall, it's like the perfect book on fascia. And this book is very clinical. And so this is an amalgamation of both research and application that's directed towards the medical community. It's a textbook. So I wrote a chapter on self-myofascial release, and then we did we're in second edition. So I just turned in my revised chapter for the second edition. So
Beautiful.
that's the most current writing. But we're so busy at my company, TuneUpFitness. So just putting finally all of my trainings. We have filmed all of the trainings, and they are all launching online. Body by Breath is the first one that we put online, and so that's been a big thing. But Role Model, we just announced the first training, May 15th and 16th. No, May 16th and 17th. And I know you've been doing Melt as a training online.
Yeah, since 2020, 4 years.
And we have just been so slow. The book's been out for over 10 years, and we're finally doing the online training.
That's great.
And then my Yoga Tune-Up teacher training, which was my first training, is the last one. It's the biggest. It's 40 hours.
And you're doing an event with Tom Myers in the summertime, which I have put on my calendar. I don't know if I can come.
It's so much fun.
But I mean, it's just like with all of you guys teaching, I'm like, I would love to be there and just.
And then the lobster.
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
Because there's going to be lobster. Yeah. It's Maine.
I love that.
I'm doing a lot of live stuff. I'm teaching at the Berkshire Yoga Festival in the Berkshires June 13th through 16th, and then I'm going to be back at Kripalu July 26th to 28th, and Tom's July 20th to 22nd. Yeah, and I'm in Canada this coming weekend for a yoga therapy symposium.
Beautiful.
But what's missing for me this year is there's so much output, and the same was with last year. Is I haven't had a chance to go back and do deep study. So that's what I'm missing. I'm missing filling my bucket. Yeah,
that's what I'm doing this year is studying more and trying to be working more on the business than in the business. And this is another thing, this is another female entrepreneur. How hard is it to be a female entrepreneur in this industry?
I have no words. It is just
nonstop. Yeah.
And the amount of fires that you put out on a daily basis that people have no idea what we're dealing with in the back in the back garbage dumpster.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
And the amount of capital, the amount of money that it takes to keep product coming in and distribution centers and dealing with customers. Yeah.
It's a lot, but Jill, thank you so much for your contribution to humanity and to making the world a little bit of a better place than we found it.
Thank you, Sue.
I love you.
I always say that Sue kicked the door open on the fascia conversation with
Thanks.
the book with Melt.
Yeah.
I mean, you really did, and
yeah, I still have to say, when I got on the Dr. Oz show and got to show Dr. J.C. Gumberto's Living Fascia on national television, I was so scared and so freaked out to
what's
stand
crazy
there.
is that wasn't
wow.
even the tipping point.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what's so crazy, because all of it at that point, it was like, oh my God, this is the tipping point, but it still wasn't. It takes all of us consistently to keep speaking correctly about connective tissue and fascia and fascia science, and to clear up a lot of the misinformation,
bullshit,
gummy information, and
garbage
non-information that's out there about fascia. And we've got decades and decades of work ahead of us.
Yeah, and I really do. I think that we still have another decade of some of the research that's just come out in the last couple of years that they'll present at the next Fascial Research Society, that I feel like in a decade from now, in 2034, I think that we'll really be in a new place for better measurements, better studies, better research that could help in cancer metastasis and fibrotic diseases, and again, just self-care in a way that is holistic, easy, and effective. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see what you do next, what the next great book is that you'll write.
No more great books.
Come on.
I don't want to write another book.
And I really hope for both of us, my one of the things that I'm hoping for and that I'm putting out to the universe is to create more of a collaborative energy between a number of female entrepreneurs who are in the field in slightly different places, but to bring things together to really amplify what we're all doing, and take some of the business burden away so that we can really focus on what's important, which is getting the message out. Yeah. So there's going to be more from this lady. Make no mistake about it. And if you don't know about Jill Miller, I will give you everything in the show notes, and I want you to click on her website and find out about these trainings. And that's exciting that it is online now.
Oh, yeah.
Because that really gives you ways to learn, but you'll always find Jill doing some event, something live, which is just going to complement everything you do online. So super excited to see it.
Thank you, Sue.
I love you, Jill.
Love you more.
See you all later. Thanks again for hanging out with us on Anatomical Gangster. Peace out.